afternoon, I'm Jarvis Brown and this is the Year Review 2021 where we present to you the highlights for the year. With me are Melissa Martin, Daniel Moore and Shamika Budgeon, and when we come back we will commence the highlights for the year 2021. Welcome back on to the highlights for the year January 2021. In the month of January, police were investigating circumstances surrounding a body which was found in the vicinity of Herbert's Beach here in Nevis. A police communique says at about 10 a.m. on Sunday, January 3rd, the police responded to a report that a body was found on the beach. Upon arrival, the motionless body of 61-year-old Myron Jeffers of Brickhill was found lying on the road close to his vehicle. The district medical officer visited the scene and pronounced him dead. In other news, St. Kitts and Nevis was ranked second in the Caribbean as it relates to the most powerful passports list according to the 2021 Henley Passport Index ranking. The most powerful passport in the Caribbean region is currently Barbados. The Henley Passport Index is the original ranking of all the world's passports according to the number of destinations their holders can access without a prior visa. According to the 2021 Henley Passport Index, SKN's passport ranks 25th in the world with visa-free access to 156 countries at that time, second to Barbados, which ranks as 23rd with visa-free access to 161 countries worldwide at that time. The Bahamas ranked 26th with access to 155 countries. SKN recorded its first double murder as Lamont alias Monty Heiliger and Jacqueline alias Mini Merit were both fatally wounded on January 11th. 35-year-old Tapari Roberts of Lower Tiber Avenue, Macknight, St. Kitts, was charged with the murder on January 15th and he was remanded to Her Majesty's Prison. Still in the national news, Premier of Nevis Mark Branley issued a statement offering condolences to the family and friends on the passing of legendary actress Nivision-rooted Cicely Tyson. The statement reads, and I quote, "I have received word of the passing of Cicely Tyson. She was of Nivision parentage and I was privileged to represent her as a lawyer and later meet her backstage on Broadway when she played the lead role in Trip to Bountiful, for which she won the Tony Award for Best Actress. Cicely Tyson passed away at the age of 91 on January 28, 2021. And that brings us to the end of January's highlights. When we come back, we will continue with our year in review and for the month of February.
Want a race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, cause you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
Welcome back, and now on to the month of February. MSR Media, the production company filming 1 year Orphan Nevis, issued a casting call to select Nevisions for various roles in the movie. The comedy film was the first of a two-movie production deal with MSR Media and the Nevis administration, NIA. Several locals were hired for the pre-production process. Philippe Martinez, producer of the film, said it was very important to him to have Nevisions featured in the movie. Nevis's premier Mark Brantley said the NIA entered into the movie deal as part of its economic recovery plan to have persons employed and to generate revenue for Nevis. Approximately $1 million was injected into the local economy, and on February 25th, MSR Media announced its intention to shoot a total of 6 movies on Nevis. Agriculture continues to remain important here in the Federation, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, various individuals have sought to grow their own crops in an effort to become self-reliant. Despite the efforts in agriculture, back in January saw, in a few instances, the destruction of crops and livestock or farm animals here on Nevis. Nevis's Premier, the Honourable Mark Brantley, condemned the acts of vandalism.
We saw one farmer's crops destroyed. We have heard of another farmer's whose animals were destroyed. We have in this little Nevis been fighting valiantly since COVID came as an unexpected and uninvited visitor to enhance our food security. We cannot achieve that if we have farmers and others in conflict with each other who are set now upon destruction of crops and destruction of livestock.
That was Premier of Nevis Mark Brantley. Still in the national news segment,
I am pleased to announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis received 2,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine courtesy of the government of Dominica.
St. Kitts and Nevis's Prime Minister, the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris, made the announcement during a national address on February 13th. According to the Prime Minister, the vaccines will soon be in the arms of frontline workers and other priority groups as determined by healthcare professionals. This was also SKN's first donation of the vaccines. On January 6, the Republic of China ROC Taiwan's resident ambassador at that time, His Excellency Tom Lee, pledged the Republic's support of US $600,000 to assist SKN to procure COVID-19 vaccines. SKN later received 21,600 doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. Meanwhile, the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccines was held on Monday, February 22nd in St. Kitts, and Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris as well as cabinet colleagues were among the first to receive the jab. Earlier, SKN received doses of the COVID-19 vaccines from Dominica, and Premier of Nevis Mark Brantley, along with other cabinet ministers of the Nevis administration, were the first persons to receive the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines, and this was done on February 24th as Nevis rolled out its vaccination program. In other news, as the federal government launched its COVID-19 vaccination campaign on February 22nd, different views were expressed regarding the alacrity and efficacy of the vaccine. A few callers weighed in on Von Radio's Let's Talk program on February 16th and gave opposing views.
The rush to develop a vaccine and the multiplicity of companies involved and nations as well suggests some cause for concern maybe.
Scientists them doing the endeavor just to do what they could do to stop it. So if this vaccine work and that one ain't work and that vaccine work, well, they got to try. They got to try something because look how fast people are dying.
Chairman of the Nevis Electricity Company Limited NEVLEC Board of Directors, Mr. Stedman Truss, introduced the new general manager of the company on February 22nd at a ceremony at the company's boardroom. Ms. Truss was quoted as saying Mr. Albert Gordon, our new manager of NEVLEC, is a Jamaican by birth. Mr. Gordon's tenure began on 1st February 2021 and his contract with NEVLEC will be for 2 years. According to a release from the NIA, Mr. Truss stated that Mr. Gordon is taking leadership of the company at a time when it is ready to take off as it adapts to a changing environment. And that brings us to the end of February's highlights. We will continue with the highlights after this break.
IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Portsmouth Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Welcome back on to the highlights for the month of March. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis received 20,000 doses of vaccines from the Republic of India on March 1st. Shortly after landing at the Ariel Bay International Airport in St. Kitts, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris received the vaccines from High Commissioner of India, His Excellency Dr. K.J. Srinivasa. In other news, the General Manager of Von Radio, Mr. Edward Weber Herbert, dispatched a congratulatory message to the directors, management and staff of ZIZ Radio on the occasion of their 60th anniversary celebrated on March 5th. The message reads in part, and I quote, "On behalf of the directors, management and staff of Nevis Broadcasting Company Von Radio, I extend heartiest congratulations on the 60th anniversary of outstanding and exemplary service to the Federation, the Caribbean and indeed the world." ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation opened its doors on March 5, 1961. In more national news, Financial Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Hilary Hazel, announced on March 2nd that St. Kitts and Nevis' economy is expected to grow this year despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
For us here in the Federation, the estimate is for the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis to grow by 5.5% in 2021 and 5% in 2022. This is consistent with all the projections made by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank for the ECCU economies, which are expected to return positive growth in 2021.
Financial Secretary Mrs. Hilary Hazel. In other news, is there anything in place to penalize an individual if he or she decides to not take the second jab of the COVID-19 vaccine? This question was posed by the VOA Newsline to the National COVID-19 Task Force. The country's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, provided this response to the question.
The taking of the vaccine is not mandatory, and so we would just educate the population that the full dosing schedule of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is 2 doses, 10 weeks apart, so it's not complete until you would have returned for the second dose. And so the nurses would do what we always do in terms of vaccination. And so if your second dose is outstanding, we will give you reminders. We may even give you a visit at home just to encourage you to come in for your second dose.
Dr. Hazel Laws. In more national news,
I am very pleased that of the 20,000 doses that we have received, we have decided to make 2,000 doses available to our brothers and sisters in Grenada.
Premier of Nevis Mark Brantley, but why the government chose to donate some of the vaccines?
And that is because Grenada's own vaccines were delayed and they were not a part of the original donation from India. And so the idea is that we would lend to each other, and as they get, they will give back to us, but we are here to help each other. I think that level of cooperation in our region should be commended. And so I think just as Dominica assisted us and assisted Antigua, so too we are now assisting Grenada, and that is as it should be.
Premier Mark Brantley. The Nevis Island Administration, NIA, emerged victorious from a court battle to secure the certificate of title for the historic Bath Hotel and Bath Stream, putting ownership officially in the hands of the government and people of Nevis. Premier of Nevis Mark Brantley described the acquisition of the title for the iconic property as a significant win for the people of Nevis. NIA's legal advisor, Mrs. Helen Lewis, explained that when it came to the attention of the government that an individual was claiming ownership of the Bath Hotel property, the government began the legal process of acquiring the title sometime in December of 2020. In other news, in an update about the 8 United States or USA nationals who were convicted for the offense of breaching quarantine conditions have all paid their fines. On Thursday, March 18, 6 of them left the Federation at that time. The visitors were among a group of 88 who were staying at a resort in Nevis, and their condition of stay at the resort was a vacation in place. The COVID-19 Act defines vacation in place as a quarantine at a hotel or other accommodation with access to an approved package of services in the context of COVID-19. The breach occurred on March 12th and the 13th when a group of 2 and a group of 6 respectively left the compound to visit establishments off-site. And in police news, an autopsy was performed on the body of 40-year-old Vian Sutton of Stony Hills, Nevis, on Thursday, March 25th by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunes. Sometime after 4 p.m., the police responded to a report which led them to discover Sutton's motionless body. Sutton was found face down in the sand, and personnel from the Forensic Services Unit visited and processed the scene. His body was found outside of the beach bordering Von Radihe Bart village on Tuesday, March 23rd. According to police authorities, no foul play was suspected at that time. And that brings us to the end of the highlights for the first quarter of the year. And when we come back, Melissa Martin will present to you the highlights for the second quarter, being April to June.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier. And after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living. Whereas the only limits you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back. Here are the highlights for the month of April 2021. In a ruling on Wednesday, March 3rd, in St. Kitts and Nevis High Court regarding the convening of the emergency sitting of Parliament on January 16, 2015, by the former Dr. Denzil Douglas-led administration to debate boundary changes on the eve of the 2015 general elections, High Court Judge the Honorable Mr. Justice Trevor M. Ward, QC, said there is no obvious or apparent reason why the debate on the Commissioner's report should qualify as an emergency. The report of the Constituency Boundaries Commission in 2015 was dismissed by the court as null, void, and of no effect. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, rolled out the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's digital currency, DCash. DCash is a securely minted digital version of the Eastern Caribbean dollar issued by the ECCB. It offers a safer, faster, cheaper way to pay goods and services and send EC funds to other DCash users, all using a smart device. Consumers and merchants can sign up to use DCash through participating financial institutions or by downloading the DCash app from the Google Play or Apple Store. A large tree fell on top of a 15-year-old boy from Crab Hill Sandy Point, St. Kitts on Thursday, April 1st, while he and his friends were playing basketball. A police press release said his friends managed to escape. He was transported via the emergency medical service to the Puxon Medical Center, where he succumbed to his injuries. He was pronounced dead by the district medical officer. In other news, Rosina Wallace, who was reported missing, was found on Saturday, 3rd April, according to the Nevis Disaster Management Department, NDMD. Circumstances were that she was last seen running off into some bushes at Church Ground, Nevis. A number of searches were conducted, including the use of a drone. The NDMD said the woman, 37, is a national of Dominica. A spokesperson for the police has told the VOA Newsline that no criminal offenses are suspected in the matter. Still in the month of April, Nevis was nominated by World Travel Awards WTA as the Caribbean's leading honeymoon destination 2021. Based on a press release from the Nevis Tourism Authority NTA regarding Nevis's nomination, the island is known for its effortless barefoot luxury, verdant foliage, and landscapes and hospitable service. To be recognized for this category, alongside other spectacular destinations, is testament to the exceptional service, the high standards, and unique honeymoon offerings in Nevis. Controversy surrounding the COVID-19 vaccines continue here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the midst of the debate, health officials, government ministers, etc., remain tenacious about having 70% of the population inoculated. Part of the debate surrounds the alacrity in which the vaccine was developed. Urologist Dr. Dwayne Thwaites said no period of time is attached in developing a vaccine.
There is no time frame to developing a vaccine. We can develop them now within months. Now look at what is going on now. There is some different strains that are coming out. You think we're not in the lab trying to develop vaccines now that will help protect us from some of these strains? Yes, we are, and we can do that within a month or two because the template is there. There is no rule that says it takes 30 days to develop a vaccine or 5 years to develop a vaccine. There's absolutely no rule. The quicker time you can get the vaccine on board, the better it is for you. And you can make that assessment from what's going on worldwide. It didn't take us that long, and it didn't take this long to develop a killed virus of the COVID so that we can make a vaccine. Because we already knew that this thing worked in developing immune resistance.
In more national news,
you know my slogan in number 5 has always been, no gimmicks, no tricks. Therefore, on the matter of future leadership of St. Kitts and Nevis, there is no need for alarm or even concern. That course has been mapped out for 2025 and it is irreversible.
That was leader of the People's Action Movement PAM party and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Richards, speaking during the party's 55th convention on Sunday, April 11th. He was also speaking in reference to him taking the post as St. Kitts and Nevis's Prime Minister in the next general elections. The party, which is part of the Team Unity Coalition, secured 4 out of the 11 seats at the January 5th general elections in 2020. Rebranded NRP were the words of the Nevis Reformation Party's NRP candidate Ms. J.D. Keynes used to describe the political party. Ms. Keynes is now the candidate for St. Paul's Parish, having launched on April 10th. In her speech at the event, Ms. Keynes imitated that the NRP has changed its image.
This is a new day. This is a new era. This is a new NRP. Yes, we still hold on to the party's principles. Those principles have not changed. But the NRP, understand, we have revamped and we have rebranded. And we are ready. This is the right time. Now I come to you having served my island and the Federation at many levels. And it is in that interest of service that caused me to answer the NRP's call to be its candidate in St. Paul.
That's Miss J.D. Keynes, and that brings us to the end of the April highlights. When we come back, we continue with the month of May.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of your engine going the extra mile, helped by Mobile Motor Oils. No matter what you're driving, motor oils matter. Mobile Motor Oils are specially formulated to go the distance and offer proven performance for your engine. We're happy to announce that Sol EC Limited St. Kitts is now the new distributor for Mobil. Visit Sol's Facebook page for more information on Mobil products.
Sol is the authorized Mobil lubricants distributor in the island. Products also available at Sol retail service stations and Hobson Enterprises Limited.
Welcome back. For the month of May, In its efforts to diversify the economy, the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, has given an update pertaining to the film industry on the island. MSR Media, a production company based in the United Kingdom or the UK, and the NIA partnered to launch a film industry on Nevis. Premier the Honorable Mark Brantley gave the VON Newsline this update pertaining to the film industry as more movies are slated to be filmed in 2022.
I have also come to understand from MSR is that they will break in December. They will go off so the crew and everybody can go see their families, etc. But then they plan to come back in January of 2022, and they propose to do an additional 6 films in St. Kitts and Nevis next year. So that, I think, is really excellent news for us. So it really suggests that we're onto something here, and I'm doing my best to encourage and foster that partnership. The fact that they are also looking at locations in St. Kitts to film means that while it has come to the efforts of the NIA here in Nevis, we have created something that is potentially benefiting the entire country.
Back in early May, a video depicting persons at the hot spring of the crater of Mount Lyamega in St. Kitts raised concerns earlier in the week of whether the general populace should be concerned. Director of the UWI Seismic Research Center said the activity at Lyamega is not uncommon.
The activity that was seen in Lyamega is normal. It's not unusual. It does not look any different to what has been seen in the past in terms of how the feature looks and the type of activity that's associated with these features that are in the crater. As a matter of fact, in other volcanoes or volcanic areas such as Dominica and St. Lucia, you would see even more effusive activity associated with their hot springs and fumaroles that would actually look a lot more active than what was seen in the video for the Mount Lyamega features. But at the same time, we must be aware that it is a live volcano and there are safety concerns with people going in and not being able to get out because it is a physically challenging hike and there is a risk of injury.
That was Dr. Urusula Joseph. Still in the month of May, Dr. Patricia Bartlett was officially presented as the NRP or Nevis Reformation Party's candidate for Nevis 2 St. John's Parish on Saturday, May 8th. In an interview with the VON Newsline, Dr. Bartlett mentioned she is throwing her hat in the political ring.
I would have thought long and hard about getting involved. I've always been a commentator on the Let's Talk program. And so I tried not to align myself necessarily with any political party because I wanted to always have an objective view to share with the public. The difficulty I've had though is that I've always been talking about the problems and always been suggesting what I think could be done better. But I'm not seeing any movement and I find that it's been stagnant for too long. And some of the issues that are faced, particularly people in St. John's, like the issue of poverty, I'm very displeased that the progress or lack thereof as it relates to addressing those issues.
That was Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Sham marriages or marriages of convenience are on the radar or were on the radar of the Department of Immigration in St. Kitts and Nevis. Sham marriages refer to any marital arrangement entered into without a real marital relationship. It is commonly done by persons seeking citizenship of another country. Chief Immigration Officer Mercelyn Hughes noted that the practice is one of the areas that will be addressed through legislation. The enforcement unit of the Immigration Department will help to investigate these matters once the amendment was passed in the National Assembly. And that's the highlights for the month of May. June highlights are next.
Hey Dad, wanna race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, 'cause you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
Welcome back. For the highlights for June, forecasters predicted yet another above-normal Atlantic hurricane season in 2021, though not as busy as 2020, and urged those prone to be impacted by the hurricanes to be prepared as the season began on June 1st. The AccuWeather forecasters, led by veteran meteorologist Dan Kotlowski, predicted at the time that the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season would result in 16 to 20 named storms, including 7 to 10 hurricanes. Nevis's minister with responsibility for disaster management, Alexis Jeffers, urged the public to be on the alert.
This season we are asked to be on our guard and put our emergency plans in place as we are vulnerable to these dangerous storms. In 2020, Nevis was spared the dangers of an active hurricane season, where we had two close encounters, one in late July and the other in mid-August. The prospect of a hurricane impacting us, especially at this time when we are being impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, is very troubling.
That was the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. St. Kitts and Nevis recorded its first COVID-related death on June 17th. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, along with Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, expressed condolences to the family and loved ones of the individuals at that time. The Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, also extended condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased. This death was announced by the Minister of Health, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet. The Voice of Nevis, Vaughan Radio 860 AM, celebrated 33 years of service to the people of the Federation, the region, and the world over on June 18, 2021. Back in 1988, history was made with the establishment of the island's first radio station on June 18th. However, Vaughan Radio's idea was conceived 2 years earlier by BVI Univision resident and founder of Vaughan Radio, Mr. Merritt Herbert, now deceased. With its motto, "Only the best will do," through the years, Vaughan Radio, dubbed the Caribbean's powerhouse, stood tall throughout the test of time. Dr. Adley McGee of Mount Nevis Hotel passed away in June, and the Nevis Tourism Authority, NTA, issued a statement mentioning NTA joins the wider tourism fraternity in mourning the passing of owner and chairman of the board of the Mount Nevis Hotel, who died at the age of 92. According to the NTA, Egyptian by birth, Doc, as he was affectionately called, following his retirement from the United Nations, where he served as an economist for 25 years, consulted with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for some 6 years. During that period, Dr. McGee fell in love with the hospitality industry with Nevis, groundbreaking construction of Mount Nevis in 1987 and completed 1989, at the time considered the first modern hotel on the island. Chief Medical Officer, CMO Dr. Hazel Laws, announced on June 26 that the new COVID-19 strain was picked up in St. Kitts and Nevis in May of 2021, which is identified as the Lambda variant. This is the variant that is in circulation in the Federation. The Lambda variant is classified as a variant of interest by the World Health Organization, WHO, Dr. Laws said. The Lambda variant, which has been identified in 29 countries, was first identified in Peru in August of 2020. Dr. Laws added that it is quite prevalent in the South American countries, including Argentina. And vaccination against COVID-19 provides more consistent protection against the virus, research suggests. However, in the public spectrum, there is a view in the Federation that natural immunity always lasts longer than vac-induced immunity. Urologist Dr. Dwayne Thwaites spoke in relation to immunity against COVID-19.
On the research horizon, it seems that there is going to be no need for any booster effect for the vaccine. It seems like the antibodies developed from all of the vaccines are very long-lived and will take a long time to come out of the body. And so we're looking at that now that they've gone back and done more and more research, that the long-lasting immunity could last up to a lifetime for some people, depending on the type of vaccine that you are getting.
urologist Dr. Dwayne Thwaites. And that brings us to the end of the highlights for the second quarter, April to June. When we come back, Daniel Moore will bring you the highlights of the third quarter, July to September.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Welcome back. Here are the highlights for July.
The island of Nevis, as of Saturday at 6:01 p.m., will be under 24-hour lockdown and will have days of limited operations coinciding with the same days on St. Kitts over the duration of the lockdown period.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. Dr. Harris made the announcement on July 2nd. This also comes in the wake of Nevis recording 2 additional cases of COVID-19. There were limited movement for limited operation of essential businesses, including supermarkets and pharmacies. In police news, lawmen determined the identity of human remains found on April 23, 2021 in the Needmust area in St. Kitts. A police communique says a soldier from the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force conducted a patrol in the above-mentioned area and found bones, which appeared to be that of a human. DNA samples from the remains and a close relative were sent abroad for testing. The results received were proved to be a match and that of Jabal Henry of Upper Keon, St. Kitts, who had been reported missing in February 2020. He was 39 years old at the time of the report. He was found 14 months after he was reported missing. The federal budget, or the Appropriation 2021 Bill 2020, was to the tune of $867.9 million and provided for the services of St. Christopher and Nevis for the financial year January 1st, 2021 to the 31st of December 2021. But how did the government fund that deficit budget?
We have recognized that this would mean less coming into the coffers of the government. However, we have also identified how we are going to fund that deficit. And we are funding that deficit and the programs that we have announced with the surpluses that we have announced in the past. And so they were not fictitious, they were real. And so the resources that we have are what we have been using to carry us through.
Financial Secretary Hilary Hazel. Considering the federal government was running a deficit budget, what if the surpluses St. Kitts and Nevis recorded are depleted?
If the pandemic persists, or God forbid that some other shock should come to St. Kitts and Nevis, we are in place with a contingency plan, which includes the possibilities of having ourselves using the leverage we have created in terms of reducing our debt-to-GDP ratio. We have quite a bit of headroom, and so we would be able to carry on.
Mrs. Hilary Hazel. A financial contingency plan identifies worst-case scenarios and their impact and presents potential responses. In police news, lawmen launched an investigation into the death of 36-year-old Travis Clark of Newcastle, Nevis, who was fatally shot in Charlestown on July 16, 2021. The police responded to a report of a shooting incident at that time. Upon arrival, they found Clark's motionless body lying on the road. The victim was sitting on a step in the Happy Hill Drive area when an armed assailant pursued him and shot him several times. Furthermore, reports indicated that the armed assailant threatened a female driver who was also in the area and took possession of her vehicle, in which the assailant made his escape. 4 days after, on July 20th, police charged 26-year-old Patrick Howell Jr. of Cane Garden, Nevis, for the murder of 36-year-old Travis Clark. In addition, Howell was charged for the offenses of robbery and larceny. Clark's death marked the first homicide for Nevis for 2021, but the fifth for SKN. That is the end of July's highlights. Up next are the highlights for August.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier, and after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living, whereas the only limit you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now for the highlights in the month of August. A fourth political party announced its intentions to contest the next Nevis Island Assembly elections due in 2022. Leader of the More Restoration Movement, MRM, Samuel Keynes, says that two more candidates for the constituencies of St. James and St. Paul's Charlestown will be revealed in the coming weeks. During a Let's Talk program, Keynes told his audience that he will be contesting in the St. John's district, but he stopped short of saying that he will unseat the current Premier, Mark Brantley.
I can't call it. I really can't call it. Again, what I propose to do is to go into the area and try to personalize with people one-on-one, because I think that's the most effective way. Appeal to their intelligence side and hope that the message would resonate with them.
Leader of MRM, Samuel Keynes. In wake of the Federation's cases passing the 700 mark, the Chief Medical of Staff announced that the Delta variant of COVID-19 was confirmed in SKN. Having received the results of samples sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CARPHA, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson mentioned that the variant was found in an inbound passenger. Leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, was launched as the candidate for Nevis No. 4, St. James Parish, on August 21st. Her opponent in the next local elections will be the incumbent Alexis Jeffers of the Concerned Citizens Movement CCM party. But what makes her so confident she will win the seat? Dr. Daniel Hodge provided this comment.
People are looking for representation. People are hoping that when they vote for representatives, they can see some change in their lives, not necessarily just in the lives of the politicians. And when we look at St. James's and we look at what has been happening over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we realize that there is really not much that the people of St. James's can speak to with regards to improvement in their standards of living and in their quality of life. And so I am quite certain from where I stand and from what I am seeing that I can bring much more to the people of St. James's.
Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. The event was broadcast live on Vaughan Radio 860 AM. That is the end of August highlights. Up next are the highlights for the month of September.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of your engine going the extra mile, helped by Mobile Motor Oils. No matter what you're driving, motor oils matter. Mobil Motor Oils are specially formulated to go the distance and offer proven performance for your engine. We're happy to announce that Sol AC Limited Syndicate is now the new distributor for Mobil. Visit Sol's Facebook page for more information on Mobil products.
Sol is the authorized Mobil lubricants distributor in the island. Products also available at Sol retail service stations and Hobson Enterprises Limited.
Welcome back, and now on to the highlights in the month of September. Wednesday, September 1st was the date that St. Kitts and Nevis began offering the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to the public. The first of 3 shipments of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines arrived on August 12th. The donation by the United States government brought an initial batch of 11,700 doses, and health officials have been preparing to introduce new vaccines to the Roll Up to Roll Out vaccination campaign. The jab is available to anyone over the age of 12 years, and there is a 3-week interval between the first and second shots. Dr. Patricia Bartlett, NRP's candidate for Nevis No. 2 St. John's Parish, told constituents and the Division public what the party's stance is on the matter of COVID-19 vaccination.
We maintain that medical issues are best handled between doctors and patients on an individual basis, particularly for those with specific concerns related to their perceived risk level. It must be noted that the invitation to join the Premier's vaccination campaign was refused because it simply did not meet our standard of moral and professional integrity.
Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Officers of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force have been able to remove several illegal firearms and ammunition from communities around the Federation. This comes as a consequence of the operations they execute regularly. On September 3rd, while conducting a vehicle checkpoint at the Southeast Peninsula St. Kitts, police officers stopped and searched a motor car and its occupants. One Taurus G2C 9mm pistol, 2 magazines, and 10 9mm rounds were found in the bag of one of the persons in the vehicle. The items were taken into police custody along with the occupants of the vehicle. The seizure brought the total number of illegal firearms seized by the police to 8. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party SKNLP issued a statement on September 4th to make its official position on the current vaccination program in the Federation known. Then leader of the party is Dr. Denzel Douglas.
Vaccination remains a very important tool in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, but so too does the non-pharmaceutical measures such as wearing of masks, physical distancing, and repeated washing and sanitizing of hands and frequently used and touched surfaces. As a political movement, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party continues to encourage all citizens and residents to follow these guidelines and take every opportunity made available to them to take the vaccine as an added layer of protection against this dreadful virus.
Dr. Denzel Douglas. The party is against mandatory vaccination. That is the end of September's highlights. Up next are the highlights for the fourth quarter, October to December.
Hey Dad, wanna race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, cause you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
Welcome back, and these are the highlights for October. As of October 7th, all arriving travelers who are fully vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus were to remain in a government-approved COVID-19 hotel or quarantine facility for a period of 24 hours, and a COVID-19 test sample would be taken within that period. The above-mentioned were dictates from the St. Christopher and Nevis SRNOs at that time. Nevis ranked number 2 in the top islands category in all of the Caribbean and the Atlantic of Condé Nast Traveler. This formed part of its 2021 Reader's Choice Awards. Four Seasons Resort Nevis ranked number 13, and the Montpelier Plantation and Beach Club ranked number 32 respectively in the top 40 resorts in the Caribbean islands. Responding to the high recognition for the destination by readers of the prominent international tourism magazine, Ms. Jadine Yard, Chief Executive Officer, CEO at the Nevis Tourism Authority NTA, expressed gratitude. For the time being, there really is not a justifiable case that we can make to basically force people into taking a vaccine, so says co-chair of the Disaster Mitigation Council and Minister of Labour, Wendy Phipps. Her comments were in relation to mandatory vaccine for St. Kitts and Nevis. In reiterating the government's position on the matter, she added, the decision to implement a COVID-19 vaccine mandate in St. Kitts and Nevis is not on the table at this time for the government. This is because of the high number of persons who have voluntarily stepped forward to receive a jab. St. Kitts and Nevis was added to the list of countries and territories with approved proof of vaccination on Monday, October 11th by the UK government. Medical Chief of Staff at the JNF General Hospital, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, indicated that St. Kitts and Nevis had supplied all the relevant data required by the British High Commission regarding the Federation's successful vaccination rollout. St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank Limited, SKNANB, is one of 4 members of a consortium of leading banks in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU, that has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire the branches and banking operations of CIBC First Caribbean. The branches of the CIBC First Caribbean are in Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A press release from National Bank says, the agreement, executed on October 12, 2021, is subject to regulatory approval and customary closing conditions. The other members of the consortium are the National Bank of Dominica Limited, Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited, and the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Limited, agent of the consortium. Operations to all institutions in the meantime will continue as they currently do. Medical Chief of Staff at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, indicated in mid-October that the rapid antigen test for COVID-19 may soon be used widely across the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Wilkinson indicated that this comes as the science on the use of the antigen test has substantially improved over recent time. The Ministry of Health is considering the initial use of antigen testing for case finding, outbreak investigation, and monitor trends. The PCR test will be used for contact tracing, and only the antigen test approved by the WHO will be used in the Federation. The People's Action Movement PAM Party, which is one of 3 parties that make up the current Team Unity administration, replaced Ian Patches Liburd as its candidate for constituency number 1 East Bastille. On October 18th, political leader of the party and Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards announced that lawyer Ms. Natasha Shannon Gray is the new candidate. It came following Mr. Liburd's defeat at the 2020 polls by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's candidate and now representative Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. Ms. Gray made these brief remarks in light of her successful nomination.
I am confident that I have the support of my party, not just as a woman, but as a colleague who have asserted myself over the years. I am excited to travel along this journey, as I know it would be a journey for the people. To my residents and constituents of East Basseterre, let us join hands as we travel together. My victory is your victory. There is more work to be done, and together we can accomplish the best for East Basseterre.
Ms. Natasha Gray. Public schools in both St. Kitts and Nevis observed a midterm break, education officials have told the VON Newsline. The respite enabled teachers, school administrators, and students to regroup, but clinical staff and guards, for example, were required to work. In St. Kitts, the break period was from Monday, October 25th through to the 29th. Here on Nevis, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Kevin Barrett, said the break was for 2 days. In an update about a house fire which occurred on Wellington Road, Basseterre, St. Kitts, the acting fire chief told the VON Newsline that the incident has already resulted in St. Kitts and Nevis recording its first fire-related fatality for 2021. More of this from Mr. Garfield Hodge.
At about 16:49 on the 21st of October, the Basseterre Fire and Rescue Services Unit responded to a report of a house fire. This emergency resulted in the death of a young lady. And at this point in time, I would want to express, on behalf of myself and the entire organization, the St. Kitts Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family and friends of the deceased. This happens to be the first fire-related fatality for 2021. Of course, being just one, it doesn't bring any comfort at all.
Furthermore,
also, resulting from that fire, a young man was injured, receiving burns about his body. At present, as I would have understood, he is in critical condition at the JNF hospital. At this point in time, it is very early. In fact, the fire investigation is in its initial stages, and we are unfortunately not at liberty to disclose any information relating to the investigation.
Acting Fire Chief, Mr. Garfield Hodge. That's the end of October's highlights. Up next are the impactful stories for the month of November.
Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Welcome back, and here are the stories for November. Tourism officials expected a busy cruise itinerary for November and December as they officially started the 2021-2022 season on November 1st. Notwithstanding concerns with competition from other destinations and the COVID-19 restrictions currently in place, Federal Minister of Tourism Lindsey Grant reported that there would be 78 cruise calls to St. Kitts between November and December. Citizens and residents in St. Kitts and Nevis benefited from a 3-month concession on food items in time for the Christmas season, allowing persons to have access to more affordable food. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance is Dr. Timothy Harris.
The regular allowance of gift packages of foodstuff will be revised to allow the first £500 free of duties and taxes. In prior years, only the first £100 were exempted. This most generous concession and food items will start not in December as was previously done, but from November 15th, 2021 and will be extended to February 28th, 2022.
In other news, MSR Media officially began filming its fourth movie on Nevis on November 1st at the Gin Trap Private Club. The film, entitled Christmas in the Caribbean, is a romantic comedy starring Elizabeth Hurley, Natalie Cox, Caroline Quinton, Eduardo Costa, and Hadar Katz, and is directed by MSR's own Philippe Martinez. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Tourism et al., Mark Brantley, personally welcomed the cast to Nevis. Close to mid-November, the Federation's COVID-19 cases was below 100. Chief Medical Officer is Dr. Hazel Laws.
We are monitoring 23 active cases on the island of Nevis and 71 active cases in St. Kitts. Now, this brings me back to early or mid-August when our active cases was similar, 94. It took us 3 months to bring the number of active cases down to below 100, and that's significant.
Elsewhere, how will I know? Is the question concerning a person's vaccination status. Urologist Dr. Dwayne Thwaites explains.
You want to not take the vaccine, but yet still you want to move around and mingle with people where you know you have that increased chance of spreading the disease to someone else, but yet still you will go as far as the last. If you have made a conscious decision, the right of consciousness, to not get the vaccine, why do you feel you must go and then expose other persons to the disease entity? That is purely hypocrisy. And I know it's difficult to tell if someone tells you yes. And I'm like very fearful of that. But you would expect that if you're coming to my office or even to your office, that you would give the treatment. And you see, this is how we depend on each and every individual.
Dr. Dwayne Thwaites. And that brings us to the end of November's highlights. Up next are December's impactful stories.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier, and after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living, whereas the only limits you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now on to the month of December. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted every sector around the world, and one of the impacts is the price increases on food items at supermarkets. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Consumer Affairs Mark Brantley told the View and Newsline the situation is difficult and the matter is not in the control of the Consumer Affairs Department.
In terms of our Consumer Affairs Department, I really don't think that there's anything they can do. This is a global phenomenon, and there's nothing that we can do as a government to say, how do you reduce world prices? We don't have that ability to do that here, and we obviously do consume food and products that come from overseas, and therefore, to a large extent, their price is fixed by the overseas suppliers as they come into us.
Mr. Mark Brantley. Considering the COVID-19 pandemic is still present in St. Kitts and Nevis and the world over, the education sector saw challenges but managed to navigate through those difficulties.
Principal Education Officer at the Department of Education here in Nevis, Ms. Zanella Claxton, told the View and Newsline Term 1 of the 2021-2022 academic year was different, considering closure of schools, virtual learning, etc. She stated when the new term would have commenced.
We look forward to Term 2. We look forward to a safe Christmas break, and Term 2 commences for all our students, our teachers, and non-instructional staff on January 10th, and it ends on April 8th for teachers and on April 1st for students.
Ms. Claxton. The Nevis Appropriation Bill 2022-2021 was passed in the Nevis Island Assembly on Thursday night, December 9th. The purpose of this bill is to appropriate certain sums of money for the use of the public service of the island of Nevis for the financial year commencing January 1st, 2022 and ending on December 31st, 2022. The bill is to the tune of EC $229.04 million. The previous 2021 bill was to the tune of $237.2 million. St. Kitts and Nevis' Statutory Rules and Orders SRNOs number 43 of 2021 was repealed to reflect the end of the quarantine period for vaccinated individuals. The regulations are dubbed the St. Christopher and Nevis Statutory Rules and Orders SRNOs number 44 of 2021. Therefore, all cruise passengers and personnel, in the case of a fully vaccinated person, provided proof of a negative RT-PCR test or antigen test taken not more than 72 hours prior to entry into St. Kitts and Nevis. However, unvaccinated persons will have to quarantine for 9 days. Still in December,
my government has determined that all civil servants on the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis will, before Christmas 2021, receive a double salary payment.
That's Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Timothy Harris. This was paid on December 21st. And that's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook or Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channels for these and other stories. The regional highlights comes up next with Melissa Martin as we continue our Year in Review 2021.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of your engine going the extra mile, helped by Mobile Motor Oils. No matter what you're driving, motor oils matter. Mobile Motor Oils are specially formulated to go the distance and offer proven performance for your engine. We're happy to announce that Sol EC Limited St. Kitts is now the new distributor for Mobile. Visit Sol's Facebook page for more information on mobile products.
Sol is the authorized mobile lubricants distributor in the island. Products also available at Sol retail service stations and Hobson Enterprises Limited.
Welcome back. Here are the highlights for the regional news for 2021. As of December 13th, an additional 13,682 cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in 32 countries within the Caribbean, bringing the region's total confirmed cases to 2,193,737 in 35 countries or territories, including the 26 CARPHA member states. There have been 28,525 deaths recorded in the Caribbean region since the pandemic began on December 13th, 2020, December 13th, 2021. Variants that are present in the region include Gamma, Delta, Lambda, Mu, Alpha, and Omicron. According to CARPHA statistics, the Gamma and Delta variant are the most dominant. Meanwhile, over 23.6 million people have been vaccinated since COVID-19 vaccines were made available to countries in the region. Out of Dominica, new university offering undergraduate veterinary medicine education was officially opened on January 29, 2021. The St. Nicholas University School of Veterinary Medicine welcomed its first cohort of international students, some from the United States, for orientation on October 1st. Out of the Turks and Caicos Islands, former Chief Minister, the Honorable Charles Washington Messick, was sworn in as the new Premier for the Turks and Caicos Islands. His appointment comes following a landslide Progressive National Party PNP victory at the general elections on Friday, February 19th, in which the party gained 14 of 15 contested seats. In related news, the former Premier, Charlene Cartwright Robinson, has handed in her resignation as leader of the People's Democratic Movement, PDM, after 8 years at the helm. The official announcement of the former Premier's departure from the party's leadership was made in a statement by National Chairman Douglas Parnell on Thursday, February 25th. Out of the USVI, between Friday, February 26th and Monday, March 1st, 2021, 13 people were shot dead in St. Croix, including 5 who died from their injuries. The VI police officials at the time were begging the community for witnesses to come forward. Laurie Dunton, the chairwoman of the Tip Service Crime Stoppers USVI, said there is a $10,000 reward for every tip that leads to an arrest. Investigators at the time had not made any arrest or recovered firearms of any kind of the 5 separate crime scenes. Out of Guyana, the Guyanese government has plans to put in place legislation to counter human smuggling amid continuing concerns that large numbers of foreigners are being brought in and transferred illegally to Brazil and French Guiana. A 2-day workshop was held in March on the National Action Plan for Trafficking in Persons to start the process. In related news, on June 22nd, a statement from the police indicated that the governments of Brazil and Suriname have expressed concerns over the situation that Guyana and other parts of the region are being used as transit points for smuggling and trafficking of adults and children from Cuba, Nigeria, Venezuela, and Haiti. This comes after a group of 10 Haitian nationals were found at a Skeldon Corentre Burbis Hotel under the suspicion of being trafficked from Suriname since June 14th. Out of St. Lucia, Philip J. Pierre was officially sworn in as Prime Minister of St. Lucia on July 28th after leading the St. Lucia Labour Party to a 13-2 victory at the general elections on July 26th. Pierre is the 9th individual becoming Prime Minister of St. Lucia since 1979. In other news, St. Lucia, as of December 23rd, registered an unprecedented 74 homicides, making 2021 the bloodiest year on record. Out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on August 5th, about 200 citizens gathered around the House of Assembly in Kingston to protest against the Public Health Amendment Bill, which requires certain categories of state employees to take COVID-19 vaccine in order to work in specified frontline jobs. During the protest, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves was hospitalized after being injured. Dr. Gonsalves was walking through a crowd outside Parliament when he was reportedly hit in the head by a stone. Later that evening, police arrested a woman as a suspect in the attack on the Prime Minister. In related news, trade unions in St. Vincent and the Grenadines staged a protest on December 22nd and 23rd after vaccinated teachers were not granted exemptions but were fired for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine. The unions were the Public Service Union, the SVG Teachers Union, and the Police Welfare Association. And that's it for the 2021 regional news highlights. When we come back, we will present to you the international highlights.
Hey Dad, Want a race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, 'cause you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
Welcome back, and here are the highlights for international news for 2021. Globally, as of December 28, 2021, there have been over 280 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, including 5,403,662 deaths, according to the World Health Organization, WHO. Also on December 28th, a total of 8,687,201,202 vaccine doses have been administered. This past year has seen the emergence of the Mu, Delta, and Omicron variants, with the Delta and Omicron variants dominating most countries around the world. However, even with the introduction of the booster dose by major vaccine manufacturers, the World Health Organization officials criticized blanket COVID-19 vaccine booster programs as developing countries struggle to obtain the starting doses, which warns that the unequal access to immunizations could lead to more mutated variants that drag out the crisis. Currently, the vast majority of COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths are from unvaccinated people, not vaccinated people without booster doses, according to WHO Director General Ted Ross. No country can boost its way out of the pandemic, he said. Vaccinations are not linear, and no one knows what will happen with a 4th and 5th booster dose. In more national news, a joint session of Congress to certify the election of Joe Biden went into an unexpected recess and the Capitol building into lockdown after Trump supporters breached security lines on January 6th. Earlier that day, President Trump addressed supporters at a rally outside the White House and encouraged them to protest the election result. This resulted in his second impeachment on Wednesday, January 13th, and the trials beginning on Tuesday, February 9th. The former president was charged with inciting insurrection as the officiating of his insurrection. However, Mr. Trump was acquitted by Republicans in the U.S. Senate, demonstrating to the enduring power he holds over the Republican Party, with the results setting the dangerous precedent that even an autocratic leader who violates his oath of office can escape punishment if he bullies enough senators into standing by him. Trump will also go down in history as a disgraced figure who escaped conviction on a technicality after a trial that undeniably proved that he endangered his own vice president, lawmakers in both parties, and scores of police officers as he sought to overturn the election results. Meanwhile, protesters defied a curfew in the Netherlands have clashed with riot police in a third night of unrest since Saturday, January 23rd. More than 180 people were arrested on Monday, January 24th in several cities. In Rotterdam, police fired a warning shot and tear gas after an emergency order issued by the mayor failed to move demonstrators. In other parts of the world, 4 Zimbabwean cabinet ministers have died of COVID-19, 3 within the past 2 weeks, up to January 25th, highlighting a resurgence of the disease that is sweeping through the South African country. President Mnangagwa said that the coronavirus is reaping a grim harvest in the country. Meanwhile, the trial of Derek Chauvin, the white American policeman accused of killing George Floyd in May last year, began on Monday, March 29th. Mr. Chauvin was recorded by passers-by in the city of Minneapolis, kneeling on the neck of Mr. Floyd, 46, who was black, for more than 9 minutes. The incident sparked protests in the U.S. and across the world against police brutality and racism. On December 16th, the former Minneapolis police officer has pleaded guilty to federal charges of violating George Floyd's civil rights. Derek Chauvin, 45, is serving a state sentence of more than 22 years for murdering Mr. Floyd. On Wednesday, December 15th, he reversed an earlier not guilty plea on the federal charges as part of a deal with U.S. prosecutors. The agreement means he will not face trial in January 2022. It may also result in a federal lighter sentence for Chauvin. In other news, China announced that it will allow couples to have up to 3 children in late May, after census data showed a steep decline in birth rates. China scrapped its decades-old one-child policy in 2016, replacing it with a 2-child limit, which has failed to lead a sustained upsurge in births. The cost of raising children in cities has deterred many Chinese couples. Still in the international news segment, EU leaders agreed Tuesday, May 25th, to donate at least 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to poorer nations by the end of the year, as supply steadily rose across Europe. Gathered in Brussels for a 2-day summit, the 27 leaders backed a text in which they pledged to continue efforts to increase global vaccine production capacities in order to meet global needs. In entertainment, pioneering Hollywood actress Cicely Tyson, who was known for portraying strong African-American characteristics, has died aged 96, her manager has said. The sad event took place on Thursday, January 28, 2021. No cause of death was given. The former fashion model had a career that spanned 7 decades. And that brings us to the end of our 2021 International News Highlights. Stay with us for sports.
Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Welcome back, and now on to sports. On September 15th at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium, fans of the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots celebrated the success of the home team in the Caribbean Premier League T20 tournament. The final match was contested by the Patriots and the St. Lucia Kings. Neither franchise has won the tournament, which is now in its 9th year. The win by St. Kitts Nevis Patriots, captained by Dwayne Bravo, comes on the eve of the Twin Island Federation's commemoration of National Heroes Day. In more cricket, 3 divisions were selected for the ongoing West Indies Rising Stars Under-19 squad for the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. They are Onaje Amory, Carlon Bowen Tuckett, and Jaden Carmichael. In addition, Anderson Amordan was named as a reserve for the tournament. Still in cricket, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force beat the Guyana Jaguars by 152 runs to win the final of the CG Insurance Super 50 Cup on Saturday night, February 27th. The match scores were Trinidad and Tobago 362 for 5 off of 50 overs, Guyana 210 for 10 off of 43.5 overs. Trinidad and Tobago won by 152 runs. Still in cricket, New Zealand were crowned the first Test World Champions after completing a stunning 8-wicket win over India in a dramatic 6th-day of the final in Southampton on June 23rd. The summarized scores were India 217 and 170, New Zealand 249 and 140 for 2. New Zealand won by 8 wickets. Meanwhile, Australia claimed their 6th Men's World Cup across 2 formats, the most by any team after their win against New Zealand on Sunday, November 14th. Having won the ICC World Cups in ODI formats from 1987, 1999, 2003, 2007 and 2015, Australia have now pocketed 1 in the T20 format as well. In related news, champion cricketer Dwayne Bravo made a big announcement as the West Indies suffered their 3rd defeat of the 2021 T20 World Cup, going down to Sri Lanka in the Super 12 contest on Thursday, November 4th. Bravo, who has been one of the finest all-rounders in the shortest formats of the game for more than a decade, has decided to hang up his boots after the end of the T20 World Cup. In football, the St. Kitts and Nevis assistant referee, Miss Tara Wilkinson, has been appointed as FIFA assistant referee for the year 2022. Miss Tara Wilkinson has been appointed as she is the first ever female from St. Kitts and Nevis to be appointed by FIFA as an assistant referee. She joins Lenroy Paris as the other St. Kitts and Nevis appointee for 2022. In other news, Lionel Messi scored his 650th goal for Barcelona on January 31st with a wonderful free kick as they beat Atletico Bilbao to move up to 2nd in La Liga. Athletic had a 5-man wall, a player lying behind the wall and another in the line, but Messi still managed to curl the ball in the top corner of his 49th free kick goal for the club. In athletics, on December 1st, Amia Clark won silver in the women's 100-meter finals at the Junior Pan American Games that took place in Cali, Colombia. She recorded a time of 11.58 seconds, losing to Ecuador's Gabriel Suarez at 11.35 seconds. Still in athletics, under-20 double sprint world champion Brianna Williams broke the national under-20 100-meter record on Sunday, May 30th. According to the Jamaica Gleaner, Williams, 19 years old, ran 11.01 seconds at the JAC Summer Open in Jacksonville, Florida. In doing this, she eclipsed the previous time of 11.02 seconds. Meanwhile, Jamaican sprinter Veronica Campbell-Brown has announced her retirement from competitive athletics on June 23rd, bringing an end to one of the most successful careers in international track and field. Campbell-Brown has won 19 medals at the Olympic Games and World Championships level and 34 as a senior athlete for Jamaica, including back-to-back 200-meter Olympic gold. In basketball, Giannis Antetokounmpo played down comparisons to Michael Jordan after making history in helping the Milwaukee Bucks to a crucial win over the Phoenix Suns in NBA Finals on July 12th. The Bucks star became only the 6th player in the NBA Finals history to score 40 points in consecutive games as his team won Game 3 of the series. In more basketball, Stephen Curry received plaudits from across the NBA after breaking the league's three-point record as the Golden State Warriors beat the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden on December 15th. The 33-year-old needed one three-point success on the night to equal the mark of 2,973 set by NBA legend Ray Allen. That's it for sports. The latest weather forecast is up next. Welcome back, and now onto the weather. The weather tonight, mostly clear. The weather tomorrow, partly sunny. Winds east to northeast at 19 to 30 kilometers per hour or 12 to 18 miles per hour, with possible gusts up to 48 kilometers per hour or 30 miles per hour. Seas 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. The sunrise tomorrow is at 6:40 a.m. And that's how we wrap up our year in review 2021. On behalf of the management and staff here at Vaughan Radio, we thank you for listening and viewing, and we wish you a pleasant evening and a happy new year.
From the Caribbean's powerhouse,